Tony Stark's first suit was a joke, until it rewrote history. Hidden blueprints reveal how a cave-built hunk of scrap became a nanotech god. Stick around, the final suit's secret will blow your mind. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a revolution. Miss this, and you'll never see Iron Man the same way again. Back in 1977, before superhero cinema knew what it would become, a quiet, clunky attempt slipped onto television screens. Exo-Man, almost entirely forgotten now, dared to imagine a regular man wielding extraordinary technology. Professor Nicholas Conrad, a genius in the field of physics, finds his life shattered when an ambush leaves him paralyzed. But paralysis doesn't stop his mind. Instead, he engineers a full-body exosuit, not to escape his condition, but to fight back. The result? A metallic monstrosity, visually tragic by today's standards. No weapons, no agility, just thermal vision and enhanced strength, all packed into a suit so heavy it made the actor stumble on set. It looked less like a hero and more like a mailbox dressed for a motorcycle rally. The pilot flopped. The network buried it. But unknowingly, this rusty prototype laid the foundation for something that would change Hollywood forever. Fast forward 3 decades to 2008, when Marvel Studios took the biggest gamble of its life. With bigger names like Spider-Man and the X-Men unavailable, they pinned their hopes on Tony Stark, a name few outside comic shops took seriously. Robert Downey Jr. redefined the character with charm, ego, wit, and vulnerability. At first, Tony is the untouchable weapon dealer, rich, smug, reckless. But when he's captured by insurgents in Afghanistan and ordered to build a missile, he instead assembles a coffin-shaped monster, the first Iron Man suit, Mark I. This was no clean tech. It was molten metal, spare parts, flamethrowers, and a life-saving arc reactor jerry-rigged into his chest. Born in a cave, powered by desperation. Back in the States, the evolution begins. Mark II was clean and silver, a test bed for altitude. It froze in the sky. Mark III, the first true icon, red and gold, flight stable, weapons heavy, complete with HUD and full Jarvis integration. That final press conference moment, where Tony looks at the crowd and says, "I am Iron Man," that wasn't even in the script. Downey improvised it, and in one breath, he shattered the superhero rulebook. No more masks, no more secrets, just bold truth and the birth of a legend. By 2010, the world knows who's inside the armor. In Iron Man 2, Tony is basking in the fame, but dying inside. His chest reactor, the very thing keeping him alive, is now poisoning him. As he hides the truth, he's swarmed with pressure. The government wants his tech, Justin Hammer wants his throne, and Whiplash, a vengeful genius, wants him destroyed. But the suits keep evolving. Mark IV is a refined workhorse. Mark V, the unforgettable suitcase armor that deploys on a racetrack like a steel flower blooming around his body. Mark VI sees a new triangular arc core, forged from a synthetic element hidden in his father's old plans. Jarvis, meanwhile, isn't just reacting, he's thinking, anticipating, helping Tony not just move, but strategize in real time. Behind the scenes, more and more of what we saw on screen was digital. Entire suits rendered in post, with Downey interacting only with glowing placeholder screens. The future of Iron Man had officially gone virtual. Then came the battle for Earth and the Avengers. Aliens pouring out of the sky, gods and monsters at his side, and Tony, still just a man in a suit. But now more than ever, the brain behind the brawn. He unveils Mark VII, a modular marvel that assembles in mid-air, magnetically locking onto his body with the flick of a wristband. It can pilot itself, counter threats, reroute power, and react mid-fight. And when a nuclear missile heads for Manhattan, Tony makes a choice the old him never would have made. He grabs it, flies through the wormhole, and throws it at the alien mothership. That moment, not from the comics, was invented to show who Tony Stark had become. No longer a playboy with a plan, a savior with something to lose. But the battle leaves scars. Iron Man 3 explores the fallout. Tony can't sleep. He's having panic attacks. And his coping mechanism? Build and build. He constructs dozens of armors, each tailored to a specific flight, brute force, stealth, demolition. Mark XLII becomes his go-to, a fully modular, gesture-controlled marvel that assembles on command, sometimes mid-air, sometimes mid-conversation. But for much of the film, Tony is left with no working suit. No house, no guarantees. And still, he fights. The climax unleashes the house party protocol. a swarm of autonomous suits soaring through the night sky like mechanized angels. One moment he's falling, the next he's catching himself with fragments of metal flying across miles. In the end, Tony removes the reactor from his chest. He doesn't need it anymore. And we understand the truth he'd known all along. He is Iron Man, with or without the shell. But his genius always walks a fine line. In Avengers Age of Ultron, Tony tries to create a global defense system. Ultron, an AI meant to protect the Earth. Instead, it decides the Earth would be better off without humans. And once again, Stark's brilliance nearly breaks the world. We're introduced to Mark XLII, sleeker and smarter. But then comes the Colossus, Mark XLIV, the Hulkbuster. A modular, high-impact Titan designed specifically to subdue the Hulk. It's armored like a tank, features jackhammer fists, interchangeable components, and enough reinforcement to level city blocks. Though entirely CGI, it was grounded in real model scans, complete with chipped paint, worn edges, and simulated weight. That was the era of Iron Man as both savior and liability. The cost of genius on full display. Then came the war that tore heroes apart. In Captain America Civil War, after Sokovia, the world demands the Avengers' answer to governments. Tony signs. Steve refuses. The team fractures. The suits evolve again. Mark XLVI debuts, compact, brutal, equipped with hidden lasers, reactive shields, and adaptive targeting. The AI now speaks with a new voice, Friday. Faster, friendlier, and emotionally aware. Internally, the armor uses microscale robotics and thermal imaging, a stealth predator in a superhero shell. The fights feel personal because they are. This wasn't hero versus villain. It was family imploding, one punch at a time. But everything changes when the stars begin to fall. Infinity War opens with dread. The universe trembles under Thanos' shadow. Tony is ready. His next evolution? Mark L, the bleeding-edge nanotech suit. No more stepping into armor. This suit blooms from a pendant on his chest, coating him in smart metal like liquid instinct. Cannons, blades, shields, micromissiles. Everything forms at will. The suit repairs itself, thinks with him, becomes him. The battle on Titan pushes it to its limits. Tony throws it all at the Titan. The nanospear, the hammer fist, even a blade through Thanos' torso. But it's not enough. For the first time, Tony bleeds. And he loses. Then the world ends. Half of it, anyway. 5 years pass. And in Endgame, we find a quieter Tony. Married. A father. Peaceful for once. But when a chance to undo the snap emerges, he can't turn away. He builds one final masterpiece, Mark LXXXV. The design nods to the classics, red, gold, heroic. But inside, it's a fortress. Built to withstand the unthinkable. Built to hold the power of the Infinity Stones. During the final clash, when chaos reigns and all seems lost, Tony does the impossible. He steals the stones mid-fight, snaps his fingers, wipes out Thanos and his army. But the cost is everything. That final, "I am Iron Man," wasn't even part of the original script. It was added in the final moments of editing to end the journey the way it began. Full circle, complete. From a forgotten exosuit that shuffled across a soundstage in the 70s to the galaxy's last hope against annihilation. Tony Stark's arc wasn't just about machines or explosions. It was about transformation, about growth, about redemption. The suits got smarter, faster, deadlier. But what made Iron Man legendary wasn't the tech. It was the man inside. So which stage of Iron Man's evolution blew your mind the most? Do you think his raw beginnings made him greater than his god-tier nanotech future? Was Tony Stark truly defined by the armor or by the man underneath? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk. And if you crave more superhero deep dives, subscribe right now.